Hi, I'm Jim Smith. I'm a Boston area wine distributor, and for 7 years I was co-host of the TV show Two Guys and a Lot of Wine on WHC-TV in West Hartford, Connecticut. And I want to welcome you to the 2020 Wine, Women, and Watches fundraiser for the American Clock and Watch Museum in Bristol, Connecticut. Unfortunately, we can't all be together in the same room drinking some great wines together, but I came up with a fun exercise we can all do in the comfort of our own homes. What I want to talk to you tonight about is body. And more specifically, how you detect body in wine. Body is that kind of sense of richness and viscosity in the mouth, but if you're new to wine, you might not be sure what you're looking for. So I thought we'd start off with some milk. This is going to be another great exercise to kind of train your palate and get it ready to experience lighter bodied liquid and a heavier bodied liquid. So let's start off with a little 1% milk, or you can use non-fat. When you swirl it in the glass, you'll see that it's really light and watery, and when you drink it, not a whole lot going on in your mouth. It's there and it's gone. When you move on to whole milk, it's got a lot more body to it. It stays in the mouth a little longer. It's a little richer, a little more viscosity. And then finally, you move on to heavy cream, and you can just see, looking at the glass, this is thick. It's clinging to the side of the glass. And it clings to your tongue too. It fills the whole mouth. There's a lot of body in the heavy cream. You're going to get the same experience with wine. We're going to move from very light wine, Pinot Grigio in this case, and then progress all the way up to a very heavy wine, a red Zinfandel. And we're going to drink these out of order. Normally when you go to a wine tasting, you'll start with white wines and drink all whites, and then you move on to reds. But tonight we're going to go from light to heavy. So we're going to start with the Pinot Grigio and then move to a Valpolicella, which is a very light red wine, and then go to a Chardonnay, which is a very heavy white wine, and then finish with the red Zinfandel. So when you look at a glass of wine, you judge body by swirling it and looking for what are called legs. Legs are the wine that clings to the side of the glass and then kind of drips down into what actually looks like several legs going down the side of the glass. And you're not really going to see that with Pinot Grigio. It's there and then it's gone. And the wine is going to be the same way in your mouth. When you drink it, it's there and then it's gone. It's a very light style wine. It's a great wine to choose for hot summer days, or if you're eating something very light, light shellfish like prawns or shrimp or a salad. You don't want a wine that's going to overpower those foods. So a Pinot Grigio is a great choice on that occasion. If you don't have a Pinot Grigio, you can also serve something like a rosé. That'd be another really light wine for that sort of occasion. If you want a light red, you can consider a Valpolicella, which is what we're drinking tonight. Pinot Noir would be another good choice for you, or a Grenache. Those are all very light-bodied red wines. I'm drinking a Valpolicella right now, and Valpolicella you want to serve actually with a little bit of a chill on it. So I put this in the fridge for about a half an hour before recording this session. It's unusual to chill a red wine, but this is one occasion when you want to do that. And you can see when you swirl it, not a lot of legs on this wine either. It's very light-bodied, and in the mouth it's that same kind of there and gone sensation. It doesn't cling, it's not heavy, it's not overpowering. This is a great wine to serve with light foods like polenta or mushrooms or gorgonzola cheese or a sausage. This wine will pair really well with those and won't overpower those foods. Moving into the heavier wines, we're going to start with a Chardonnay. And this is usually referred to as the white wine that drinks like a red. It's got so much body, it's so heavy, thick, lots of viscosity. You get that sensation of it just filling the mouth when you drink it. Now this is a great wine to serve with poultry, heavy cream sauces, mac and cheese even goes well with Chardonnay. It's a great one also for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's a tough meal to pair wine with. Chardonnay, I always put one out on the table every year. It can hold up to those heavy cream sauces and the turkey. And the last wine we're going to look at is red Zinfandel. Now, I chose Red Zinfandel instead of a Cab because Red Zinfandel has a higher alcohol level. When you look at most wines are between 12 and 14% alcohol by volume, and that'll be printed right on the label. Red Zinfandels are often 15, 16, sometimes 17% alcohol. The more alcohol in the wine, the more body you're going to have. There are a couple other factors that come into play that build up on body. The sugar content of the wine, how much oak it gets, some of the flavor components from the wine. But the main factor that determines how much body a wine has is alcohol content, and Red Zinfandels always come out on top. When you swirl this in the glass, you're going to see a lot of legs coming down the side of the glass, and they're going to hang there for quite a while. And it's interesting what actually causes that to happen. When you think of wine, it's really two components. It's water and alcohol. And those two components have different surface tensions. So when you swirl the wine, you get some up on the side of the glass, and the alcohol in the wine evaporates almost immediately. And that leaves a lot of water up here. And because that water has more surface tension than the rest of the wine in the bowl, it actually pulls wine up the side of the glass. If you swirl and look very carefully, you'll see wine going in two different directions. When the wine gets up here, gravity takes over and kind of pulls it down in the glass, but because of the higher surface tension up here, wine gets pulled up the side of the glass. The longer that cycle keeps going, the more body the wine has. It's a fascinating, fascinating thing to watch. When you drink this, full in the mouth, great sensation, lots of viscosity, lots of body. A wine like this will pair really well with something smoky, off the grill, like a brisket. It's not gonna get overpowered by that food. Something really heavy like that will overpower just about everything else we've tried tonight. But a Red Zinfandel will stand up to that. Now, it's interesting to think about growing regions and how that affects body. Cooler climates produce light-bodied red wines. So you think of Oregon here in the United States. They produce some phenomenal Pinot Noir. It's a cooler climate, it's farther north. If you go down to California, California produces a lot of great Cabernet Sauvignon and Red Zinfandel. It's a much warmer climate. The same is true in France. If you think of the Burgundy region, they produce a lot of great Pinot Noirs. That region's farther north than Bordeaux, which produces a lot of great Cabernet Sauvignons and Merlots. One other thing to look for in body is the fruits that you're tasting. If you're drinking a light-bodied red, you're going to taste a lot of red fruits. You're going to taste raspberry, strawberry, cherry. If you're tasting a heavy-bodied red, you're going to taste black fruits. You're going to taste blackberries, black cherries, plums, black currants, and sometimes blueberry. So it's interesting to think about what kind of fruit you want to taste, pair that with the food you're eating, and then also take into consideration the body and how heavy you want that wine and how that's going to play with your food. Well, that concludes our discussion of body. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this session. I know I certainly have.